Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Chaitanyam Sarvagam Sarvam Sarvabhuta Guhashayam Yat Sarva Vishayatitam Tasmai Sarva Vide Namaha. Atmarupa Videh Karyam Kriyadibhyo Nivartanam Nasadhyam Sadhanam Vatma Nityatrupta Smriter Matam Matah Utpadyapya Vikaryani Samskaryancha Kriyaphalam Natonyat Karmana Karyam Tyajet Tasmat Sasadhanam Tapan Tattvada Nityatva Atma Tattvat Chatvaya Bahi Samrutyatmanitam Pritim Satyarthi Gurumashaye Shantam Prajnam Tatha Muktam Nishkriyam Brahmani Sthitam Shruteracharyavan Veda Tadvidhiti Smritestatha Tyajet Tasmat Sasadhanam Karma. Tasmat, for that reason, Sasadhanam Karma Tyajet Mumukshu. Mumukshu should give up karma along with the sadhana such as Jaya, Apatya, Vitta, Shikha, Yajno, Veda, etc. Because Nata Anyat Karmana Karyam. Karma cannot be the means of moksha. Mumukshu. Mumuksha is the one who is ascertained that moksha is the only goal for me. And since moksha is not apya to be acquired because of the nature of self, vikarya is a different state because it is changeless, already mukta. Utpadya, not to be produced, already existing. Samskarya, not to be purified because ever pure. So moksha cannot be the outcome of a karma. nor can Atma become the means of karma. Therefore, karma has no role to play for a mumukshu. And therefore, may the mumukshu renounce all the actions along with the accessories, thus becomes free from all responsibilities, and also gives up all the claims and rights. Rights you get if you have responsibility. Give responsibility, all rights are also given up. That is a freedom. If I give responsibility and not the rights, then I'm not free. And now what remains is the attachment. The things are given up, but still, if there is attachment, the relation, the attachment is there, ya bahihi pritihi, that priti or the love, affection or attachment that is for bahihi, for entities, things and beings other than Atma, which is what it is usually in life. Atmani tam pritim samhrutya. All that love which is there for elsewhere may be discovered to be love for oneself. Atmastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Recognize that something is dear to me, not for the sake of that thing, but for myself. So the love which is thought to be there really is for me, that is called upasamharanam. So withdrawing the love from that, because it is love for the self only. It is not that I withdraw the love really, to discover that the love which I think I have for others is really for myself. And thus, with this recognition of the love that I have for worldly things, is really an attachment which ends into santapa or sorrow. It is impermanent. It is always self-centered. Recognizing limitations of the so-called love I have for things other than myself. It is so-called because it is conditional love. I do not love anything unconditionally. So not only the others are selfish, so am I. Their atmarthatva, that love is for the sake of the self, not for them. So be honest and recognize that there is only love for the self. Whatever love I have for anything is really for the love for the self. If that recognition is there, then I am able to withdraw my mind from the attachment, preoccupation, other things. Satyarthi gurumashrayet. I am no more arthi of anything, asatya or anatmarthi. I was anatmarthi, meaning desires of anatma, because I thought that anatma was the source of happiness. We recognize that anatma cannot be the source of happiness. And the happiness, I think that in anatma is only in atma, so becomes the atmarthi really. And atma is satyam, satyarthi. Now how do I then? So now there is a desire now to know atma, know satya. What do I do? Guru mashrayet, tad vijnanatham, sa guru meva vigachet. This aspirant should necessarily go to a guru to tad vijnanatham, for knowledge of that, knowledge of satyam, knowledge of atma. The word satya is used here because yenaksharam purusham veda satyam. The Mundakopanishad uses the word satyam, deva satyarthi. Call it satyam, call it atma, call it brahma. Shantam, prajnam, tatha muktam, niskriyam cha brahmani, niskriram brahmani sthitam. The Upanishad describes the qualification of Guru as shrotriyam brahmanishtam. Viditatmananda elaborates more on that. What is it? Apa pehlu sunche. So the first line of that verse is ब्रह्मणि उपरतशान्तः निरिन्धन इवानलः अहेतुकदया सिन्धु. मुझे साहब चलो छोड़ो બધા મારા જેવા થઈ ગયા છે. અવૃજનમ શ્રોત્રિયો વૃજનો યો કામહતો બ્રહ્મવિત્તમઃ અવૃજિનઃ નિષ્પાપઃ અકામહતઃ not overcome by desires or free from desires. Nirindanevah, one who abides in the self. So Viditatmananda elaborates another text also, even this text also I said earlier. Shantam prajnam tatha muktam nishkriyam brahmani siddham gurum ashrayet. Guru of this nature one should resort to, take refuge unto. Who is Shanta, Akshubda Chitta, Prajna is Medhavi, Mukta, Nitya Mukta, not subject to being bound again. Niskriyam, free from all Kriya, because free from all desires. Brahmani Sitam, abiding in Brahman. A guru of that nature one should resort to. Why is it so? Shrutihi acharyavan veda. Acharyavan purusho veda. Tad vidhi pranipatena. Shruti and Smriti both prescribe that one should necessarily go to the Guru. Ukta pramana anusarana ukta vishesha guru upagamane phalam. Ukta pramana anusarana. In keeping with the pramanam, the Shruti and the Smriti statement that the teacher quoted, Acharyavan Purusha Veda Tad Vidhi Pranipatena, that's the pramanam. That is the source of knowledge for us, which says that you should go to the Guru. Ukta Visheshana Guru Upagame. So based on that pramanam, that vary the authentic statements of the scriptures. Guru Upagamane, I approach the Guru in keeping with this instruction, in keeping with this the wisdom that is imparted to me from the scriptures. Niratisham phalam darshayati, that this has a great reward. It results into Niratishayam phalam, limitless, unsurpassable award results. So that is being said, verse 53. Sagurustarayed yuktam shishyam shishyagunanvitam brahma vidya plavenashu Swantadvantamahodadhim. Saguru Shishya Gunanvitam Yuktam Shishyam Tarayet. That Guru should Tarayet, help cross the ocean of samsara. Who? The Shishya, who is possessed of the right attributes of a Shishya, of a disciple. How does he make him Tarayet, make him cross what? The ocean of samsara. With what? Brahma Vidya Plavena. By the boat, by the raft of Brahma Vidya. Ashu, immediately, quickly. Swantadhant Mahodadim. Mahodadim Taraye. That ocean of what? Swantadvanta. Dvanta, darkness, ignorance. Swanta, obtaining in one's own mind, self-ignorance. The Guru should make the Shishya cross the ocean of this ignorance, self-ignorance, with the raft of the knowledge of Brahman. Soham Bhagavad Shochami Tanmam Bhagavan Shokasya Param Tarayatu. I suggest that I am grieving. May the Venerable Sir make me cross that ocean of sorrow. So Yuktam Shishyam, together Yuktam Samahitam Shishyam. Yuktam is Yogya or Yuktam means Samahitam, both. The qualified Shishya or Shishya enjoying yoga means single pointedness, focus, who wants nothing other than very clear about the goal. And therefore the mind is focused. When the goal is very clear, and the importance of the goal is recognized, and that's the only thing that can be my goal, then nothing will distract me on the path. No attraction on the path will distract me if I am very clear that is what I want, that alone is what I want. So that viveka as to what it is that I am seeking, what is it that is behind the desires, all the desires, is the moksha. All that I am seeking in life is moksha. When that is discovered, then yuktam, samahitam, single pointed, meaning that then other attractions will not distract him. Shishya gunanvitam, anvitam, possessed of Shishya guna, the virtues of a disciple. What are the Shishya gunaha? Prashanta chittaya, jitendriyaya. Look at the verse 1672. Prashanta chittaya, jitendriyaya cha, prahina doshaya yathokta karine, gunanvitaya anugataya sarvada, padeyametam satam mumukshave. Prashanta chittaya, shanti guna yuktaya, who is shanta, enjoying tranquility of mind. Jitendriyaya cha, danta, one who enjoys self-control. Prahina doshaya, uparatha, free from all the doshas, kalmashas are gone, who enjoys an abiding mind. Yathokta karine dharmanishta. So far he has been following the dharma. Shastrokta swadharmasya yatha shastram anushthatre. The aspirant has been a dharmatma so far, always following dharma, doing what is right. Yathokta karine gunanvitaya, vidya, vinaya sampanna, all these gunas, these virtues are there. Anugataya, obedient to the teacher and the scriptures. Etat mumukshave, etat sarvada pradayam. a mumukshu of this nature, to that mumukshu, this knowledge must be always imparted. So it was stated. So the Tikākāra reminds that here Shishya Prashanta Chittaya Jitendriyaya Ityatra Uktaha Gunaha. So virtues of a disciple that are stated in the verse 672, chapter 16. Amanittvadayascha Bhagavad Gita-uktaha. Amanitvam, Adambitvam, the virtues that are stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Tai anvitam, one who is possessed of these virtues. So tasmai sa vidvan upasannaya samyak prashanta chittaya samanvidaya. So yena aksharam paramam veda satyam provachatam tattvato brahma vidyam. Again, this is what Mundaka Upanishad said. The first verse, earlier verse was the Anuvada of the Mundaka Upanishad, Savittad Vijñānatham. This is Anuvada of the following verse. Therefore, Yena Aksharam Purusham Veda Satyam Provachatam Tattvato Brahma Vidyam. Mundaka Upanishad says that the Guru also, when he finds a deserving disciple, Tasmai Savidvan Upasannaya Samyak, one who has approached him properly, Prashanta Chittaya Samanvidaya, possessed of the tranquility of mind, possessed of self-control, Yena Aksharam Purusham Veda Satyam Provachatam Prabhruyat, he must impart that knowledge by which the disciple comes to know Satyam. So that is what is stated here. That Brahma Vidya Plavena Ashu. Brahma Vidya Plavaha, Brahma Vidya itself is a raft. Tena, by the raft of Brahma Vidya, Swanta Dvanta Mahodadhim Tarayet. Mahodadhim Tarayet, making cross the ocean of Dvanta, of darkness, Swanta, obtaining one's own Antahkaranam, the darkness of ignorance that obtains in the mind of the disciple, which darkness is like ocean, because any amount of effort one is not able to cross that ocean of darkness, only light can dispel that. Therefore, by the light of knowledge, may the Guru enable the disciple to so-called cross the ocean of darkness, dispel the darkness of ignorance. Upadi vachanena, upadiyamano jyo lakshave, swanta dvanta is the upadi, that is the nature of the antahkaranam. Dvanta, darkness, swanta antahkaranam, meaning the one possessed of the darkness of antahkaranam, the ignorant one. Jiva, tasya dvantam Atma Svabhava Avarana Vikshepa Lakshanam Anadi Anirvachyam Ajnanam. Shishya that possesses Avarana Vikshepa, Anadi Anirvachya Ajnanam, Tadeva Mahan Udadihi. That Ajnanam is Udadihi. Ignorance is like the ignorance of a 10th man. It is not ignorance of something else, ignorance of one's own self. Not only that, but it is not merely not knowing oneself, it is knowing oneself wrongly. Not knowing that I am the 10th man is lost, but that I am not the 10th man. So that I am not the 10th man. 10th man is someone other than myself, and I have to search for that. That is what brings about the search. That is the ocean. The search for the 10th man has its origin in this misconception that I am not the 10th man is lost. I am not trying to, and then no amount of search will remove that notion. The reason why the ignorance is called ocean is ignorance creates the wrong notion, wrong, false perception of myself. And any amount of work or action will not eliminate that false perception, it will perpetuate the false perception. When I do not find the 10th man, I do not ever question whether my conclusion is wrong. I will say maybe somewhere else, and therefore that not finding 10th man only prompts me for more search and not into inquiry into where this search comes from. This is what the Guru does. So I will never do. So Guru makes me recognize where does the need for search come? It comes from your conclusion, your perception about yourself, and that is a false perception. So that is what the Guru makes me see first of all. That your problem is ignorance and not that you are limited. Not that you are lacking something. Not that you are limited. Problem is, you think that you are limited, you think that you are lacking that thought, conclusion, that perception, called vikshepa. So that is why the Guru first makes the aspirant see what is the nature of problem. You are the problem, and therefore you are the solution. The ignorant you is the problem, and therefore the enlightened you is the solution. That's all. That must become very clear. Then only a person will give up all other efforts of becoming free in life, being happy, stuff like that. All efforts are given up when I realize what the basic problem is. So it is called Mahodadhi. And never-ending search, as long as you are searching for what it is, what I am, it's a never-ending search. So the Guru makes me see that the very need for a search arises from a self-ignorance. And therefore, self-knowledge is solution, not becoming something, not getting something, not reaching something, not creating something. Therefore, tarayet is like a command or injunction to the Guru. Provachatam. So prabhruya, that's what I say, the Guru must also instruct the disciple. So now the all background is set up between Guru and right Shishya is there, right Guru is there. So now what interaction goes on between them? Katham ukta lakshano guru, ukta lakshanam shishyam, samyak jnanena sadhyah samsara sagaram tarayet. Brahma Vidya plavena ashu tarayet. Immediately you should make him cross. Call it sadhyah, ashu, immediately. Ukta lakshano guru. The Guru, the teacher, whose lakshana, the characters are described earlier. Ukta lakshanam shishya, whose are also described. Samyak jnanena Brahma Vidya plavena, by the raft of Brahma Vidya, samyak jnanena, by the true knowledge, essential knowledge. Sadhyah samsara sagaram tarayet. What is that Brahma Vidya? You say that by the boat, the raft of Brahma Vidya. What is that Brahma Vidya? With which, the help of which, the Guru makes the Shishya cross the ocean of samsara. So Brahma Vidya Plava, what is that? What is the raft of Brahma Vidya? It's apekshayam. That's the apeksha now. That the Guru must make him cross with this raft of Brahma Vidya. What is Brahma Vidya? Asamam padartha vivekam karayitva. Brahma Vidya is the result of the knowledge of statement, Aham Brahmasmi. The Guru says, Tattvamasi, that thou art. That statement is three words or pada, tat, tvamasi. So, prasamam padartha vivekam karayitva. One is tat pada, tvam pada, asi pada, three pada or words are there. Vivekam or shodhanam karayitva. The problem is that I already have my conclusion about who that Ishvara is, who I am, and what our relationship is. I already have my own conclusions, which conclusion I never question. Because nothing that I do or nothing that I experience in general, my mind is so preoccupied with what I want to do that this basis of doing, basis of searching, that it is my conclusions and not a reality, that is never questioned. So I already have a knowledge, in my opinion, of who I am. I already have a knowledge, in my opinion, of who Ishvara is. And what our relationship is, I know. Since I know, I am not going to question myself. So Guru makes me question, or Guru makes me deliberate upon my conclusion about myself, my conclusion about Ishvara, my conclusion about the relationship of Jiva and Ishvara. Guru makes me deliberate on this. That's called Padartha Shodhanam. Tvam Pada means I. I already know who I am. Shodhanam. So that knowledge of myself needs to be cleared up by removing what is ignorance part. In my knowledge of myself, there is knowledge as well as ignorance. That I am a jiva, when I say that I am is of course myself, jiva is ignorance, coming from identification with what I am not. Ishvara is creator, sustainer, dissolver. Then also the creator, sustainer belongs to Upadhi. So first of all I must get clear understanding of who I am, what Ishvara is, and then the relationship, identity between the two. So before making me see the identity, teacher first makes me see what is the true nature of myself by making me see what the nature of ignorance, what ignorance does. So prasamam padartha vivekam karayitva. In my understanding of myself, aviveka is involved. I am so and so when I say that I am belongs to Atma, so and so belongs to Anatma. Therefore, in my knowledge of myself, Atma, Anatma, Viveka is involved. Atma, Anatma is thought to be the same degree of reality as Atma. Atma and Anatma are both placed in the same locus. Samadhikaran. So I should know that they don't belong to the same adhikaran. That Atma is subject, Anatma is object, Atma is witnessed, Anatma is witnessed, and so forth. So that way, from my knowledge of myself, the ignorance of aviveka part has to be eliminated. So, padartha vivekam karayitva, padartha shodhanam or padartha vivekam karayitva. Vakya, so similarly, tatpada also. There is the identification of Mayadek Upadhi. And What's the nature of Ishvara without the Upadi? Vakyartha jnanopadeshena iti abhipretya. Then Vakyartha jnanam is given. First, Tvam-pada, Tat-pada or Tat-pada, Tvam-pada, whichever way the teacher chooses. In Chandogya Upanishad, 6 chapters start with Tat-pada. In between Tvam-pada and then Tattvamasi. So Tattvamasi, that order was followed. First Tat-pada, then Tvam-pada, Asipada. Elsewhere it may be Tvam-pada, and then Tat-pada and Asipada. So different texts follow different orders. But Chandogya follow this order. Tat-pada, Tvam-pada, Asipada. Vakyartha jnanopadeshena tarayet iti abhipretya sankshepada padartha vivekamaha. This is what the teacher does by enabling the disciple to see, hey, what is the true nature of yourself? What you take yourself to be, and in that perception, what is the false or anatma part, and what is the essential part that you can call you. Because in I also there is an unchanging part, there is a changing part. Shrota, Vakta, Manta, Vijnata, all of these are changing. Aham, Asmi, Aham, that is changeless. Atma itya upasita, therefore you must recognize the deliberate of Atma. In your present conclusion, Anatma also is involved. When I say Shrota, Vakta, then the Shrotrendriya, Vagindriya, they are all involved. So, Sankshepatah Padartha Vivekamaha. In brief, the teacher says Viveka, discrimination between Atma and Anatma, and Ishvara and Maya. So the verse 54 says, Drishtis prashtis shrutir gratihi matir vijñati revacha shaktayo nyasya vidyante chindrupatve pyupadhivihi. Drushtihi, darshanam, seeing, sprushtihi, sparshanam, touching, shrudihi, hearing, shravanam, gratihi, smelling, matihi, thinking, vijñatihi, knowing, iti evacha. Shaktaya, anyasa, these and other shaktaya, these and other powers. Vidyante, call them powers, call them functions. All these different functions of seeing, feeling, hearing, thinking, touching, tasting, knowing. Vidyante, each one is different from the other. Chidrut upadhivi vidyante, they are all different from each other because upadhi chidrupatvepi. Even though the essential nature of drishti is consciousness. Consciousness that sees through eyes, shrotrasya shrotam hears through ears, chakshuha chakshu sees through eyes. So really, the hearing, thinking, tasting, touching is all consciousness which assumes different forms. One consciousness assumes the form of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, thinking, knowing. Not that consciousness changes, upadhi of the organ of hearing, thinking, talking, touching, that's what they change. Therefore, recognize that in all of these, what is nothing but consciousness, that is you. In seeing, thinking, hearing, tasting, touching, all the seer, hearer, thinker, taster, toucher, in all of these apparently changing aspects, there is a changeless consciousness. I am. That's the true nature of you. So tikas anyascha rasayati bhakti gadi ityadyaha shaktah ityartah. So drushti, sprushti, then rasayati, tastes, bhakti, speaks, gati, goes, going, ityadhyasa shaktaya. Call them shaktaya, functions. All these different functions are involved. Eta, dushyadi, shaktaya, all these various functions. Prananeva, prana bhavati, vadan vak, pasyan, chakshuhu, shrunan, shrotram. So all these, so he's called Vakta, Srota, Manta, they're all functional names. Atma gains all these names of designation of functional names. But without function is what? Nothing but consciousness. Therefore, Drishtyadi Shaktaya Yadyapi Akhanda Chidrupa Eva. In reality, seeing, hearing, thinking, talking is nothing but consciousness. Akhanda Chidrupa, the consciousness with there is unbroken consciousness, undivided consciousness. Thinking, hearing are all divided from each other. Through all of them, the divided function, there is undivided consciousness. Chidrupa eva, akhanda chidrupa eva, tathapi, tattat indriya dvaraka, buddhi vritti, bhedopadibhi. So buddhi vritti becomes upadhi. Say, the vritti, chakshushi vritti, a cognition that has taken place because of function of eyes, is I become the seer, seeing. Sprushti is again the vritti that has taken place because of the function of the organ of sparshan or touch. So that is how, with reference to different organs. So these indriyas, external, internal indriyas, they are upadhi mean limiting agents, they create a sense of limitation in consciousness. Just as the colored cloth creates the appearance of color in the crystal, not that crystal appears many because it is many. The manyness of crystal is because of the upadhi of the colored objects. So one consciousness appears many. Seeing, hearing, thinking, tasting, touching, walking, talking. That one consciousness, all differences are due to the upadhi, which is the corresponding sense organ and the mind. The vastutaha bheda asti. There is no essential change in the crystal, so no essential change in consciousness. They appear, get reflected in consciousness, and create an appearance of this color in consciousness. The color of seeing, thinking in consciousness, just as these colored objects create the appearance of color in the crystal. The vastutaha bheda asti, just as there is no bheda, division in consciousness, so in crystal, in consciousness also, there is no real bheda. Meaning drishti is not different from srushti and sprashti, etc. One consciousness alone, you feel difference, is only due to the upadhi. That is the respective sense organ. The vritti created by sense organ. That influences the consciousness. And consciousness made to appear as seeing, hearing, tasting, touching. Tat vrityamsha parityagena. So here the viveka is involved. Drushti is seeing, Sprushti touching, Shruti hearing, Gradi smelling, Mati thinking, Vijnati knowing. Tattad Vrutyamsha. In that there is consciousness and Vrutyamsha. So consciousness identified the Vritti, or consciousness influenced by the Vritti. The thinking, seeing, tasting is all Vritti. It creates an appearance of consciousness, thinking, etc. Therefore, Vrityamsha Parityagena, the changing amsha, the changing aspect belongs to Vritti. That's called the Upadhi. Recognize the difference. In seeing what is consciousness, with the vritti of seeing that is created by the function of the organ of seeing. Touching is consciousness. The specific form of touching created by the vritti, which is created by the organ of touching. The see in each case. How? The differences that appear in different functions are due to the activities of sense organs. In all of them, the consciousness is one, unchanging. Aham, 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 I am, I am, I am. Therefore, tattadvrutyamsha parityagena, by giving up the reality to that vrutyamsha, that the form doesn't belong to consciousness, is incidental. Hearing, thinking, tasting, touching are incidental appearances of one consciousness, I, and therefore drop because incidental. Incidental can be dropped, the essential cannot be dropped. Taddadvrutyamsha parityagena sarvrutti sakshidaya. Aviveka is the yushmadamsha, yushmat pratyaya and asmat pratyaya. All these vrittis are yushmat pratyaya, they are object. The consciousness, asmat pratyaya, the subject. So identify the subject as a witness. And anugata prakasha svabhava, all that I am is the prakasha, the consciousness, that is what pervades every function. Whereas the form of function is different, like form of ornaments is different, it's one gold alone, that is in different forms. So also different vrittis are there, seeing, thinking, hearing, tasting, touching. They are like the ornaments, one consciousness manifesting in different forms. What creates the form is that particular vritti because of the activity of a given sense organ. It's changing, incidental, unessential. What is it? Anugata prakasha svabhavaha. The prakasha, the consciousness, anugata, that pervades everything, inheres in all of them. In all the changing forms and names, the gold inheres. And so also in seeing, hearing, tasting, touching. They all come to ornaments. What inheres is one consciousness, that is I. Anugata prakasva eva atma tvam padartha, that's the nature of tvam or I. The prasamam grahayet. Let the teacher make the student see this. Grahayet. So that is the role of the teacher, who makes the aspirant see what is satyam, what is mithya, what is essential, what is incidental. Make the student see that consciousness is essential, which is abhaditam, which cannot be negated. And therefore it is you. Abhaditam means you. Others are bhaditam, incidental. Enable him to see this, drop those and see that what I am is the anugatam chaitanyam, the inhering consciousness I am. And that is the essential nature of I. all this was done earlier. "14, 15, 16 verse of same chapter, Yena Veti, Saveda Syad, etc., etc. So this was discussed earlier, but now again is brought back, to complete the topic. Kata upadibhi eva chit shakti bhedah. Why do you say that chit shakti? Seeing, hearing, thinking, talking, touching is all the different functions of consciousness. Why do you think that the way differences are due to upadhi, and maybe consciousness itself undergoes change? Consciousness becomes seeing, thinking, hearing. Why do you think that the changes in crystal are due to the upadhi or colors or substances? Why not crystal itself changes? So why not consciousness itself undergoes change? That's what we experience. We experience crystal appearing in different colors, and why do we have to think that something else is changing and then crystal is changing? Why not? Crystal can be assumed to be changing, so also why not consciousness changes? Why do you think the change is only superimposition? Why? Maevam, if this is a question, it cannot be so. Atmana vikaritva apatte, in that case, just as crystal has to be accepted as vikari, as changing colors, which goes against its nature. So Atma, consciousness, will have to be accepted as vikari, as changing. Kalpana gauravacha. Then you must first of all assume consciousness and then changing consciousness. But otherwise, consciousness changeless, so many kalpanas are required, more kalpanas are required to accept consciousness changing than one changeless consciousness. Abhiprayatya, therefore, this question cannot be answered by accepting consciousness changing. Why does consciousness change? If consciousness thought to be changing, why does it change? What makes it change? Its nature of consciousness change. Then changing of nature, then it is vikari, then it's perishable. Then Atma becomes perishable. There were so many kalpanas are required to accept changing as the nature of consciousness. There is one kalpana, that upadhi changes, therefore consciousness appears to be changing. Then no sacrifice of the avikaritvam, changelessness of consciousness. Iti abhipretya drushtantena akhanda rupadam. Give another example. Crystal would have been an example, but anyway, because crystal is an example that teacher, author gives is a more effective example. Drushtantena akhanda rupadam sadhayati. So by drishta avikaritvam sadhayati. The Atma is consciousness, avikari, changeless. Is established with an illustration. So next verse is apayod bhutihi nabihi nityam deepyan raviryatha sarvadruk sarvagashuddha sarvam janati sarvada. Yatha ravi nityam deepyan. Just as sun, nityam deepyan, it ever illumines by his rays. Just as the sun ever illumines, changelessly illumines every various thing without changing, undergoing change. Sun illumines variety of colors and forms without itself undergoing any change. apaya udbhuta hina vihi rashmi vihi, but the rays that are devoid of the growth and decay, apaya and udbhuta, decay and growth. Meaning that no change happens in the rays of the sun when the sun illumines changing things. So what is illumined may be changing, it is changing, it is undergoing change, it grows, it decays. So all these growth and decay and birth and death are all the substance are illumined by the rays of the sun. But that growth and decay does not belong to sun. Now this is known, that's why it becomes the illustration, example. Similarly also, yatha tatha. Similarly, Atma, Sarvadruk, all seeing, Sarvagaha, all pervading, Shuddha, ever pure, Sarvam Janati, knows everything, Sarvada. So, sun becomes an excellent example, illustration to understand the nature of changeless nature of the Atma, this consciousness. So, Tika Yatha Ravihi, Apaya Udbhuti. So, what? Vinasha Janma Udbhuti Janma. Apaya Vinasha. Apaya Udbhuti Vihi, meaning Vinasha Janma Shunya Vihi Rashmi Vihi. Is that it? Swarashmi Vihi. So by one's own rays that are devoid of the vikara, the changes of, to perish and to evolve, the sun rays are devoid of the nature of setting and rising. Sun doesn't set, doesn't rise. The rays do not undergo change, rays do not decay, rays do not grow. So, Rashmi Vihi, by the Rashmi, the rays, the sun illumines everything by the rays that they are free from the growth and decay. The rays that are free from growth and decay, by those rays, sun illumines all growth and decay. All growth is illumined by sun rays, the decay is illumined by the rays that do not undergo growth and decay. Saram Brahmandam Deepyan illumines the whole cosmos that we see anyway. Deepyan Prakashayan Ekaheva Avikarto Vartate remains one, changeless, ever. So that's the Drishtanta. Atma api apayodbhuti hina api eva. So also by the rays of consciousness. So seeing is one ray of consciousness, hearing is one ray of consciousness, thinking another ray of consciousness. Looks like the ray of consciousness undergoes change. Just as the ray of sun undergoes change when it illumines red and yellow and etc. But no, sun ray remains the same, so also consciousness ever remains the same. So the nature of consciousness is devoid of apaya udbhuti hina vihi, devoid of vinasha janma. Swarupa the chit shakti vihi, the self which is chit by swarupa, the power of consciousness which is its own nature. Shakti is just called, just as sun by its own Shakti of illumination, so all chit Shakti is called Shakti. So it's Shakti in that sense. But that shows just as it shows the power of sun to illumine, so also shows the power of self to illumine, power. Tattat buddhivati upadi bhedat bhinna. So don't, when you use Shakti, then I get excited. Oh, Shakti and Shaktiman. This is all Shakti, simply a word used not to create difference of Shakti and Shaktiman. There is no difference. So Chit Shakti means not the power of consciousness, it is consciousness. It acts like it is powerful, but it's just all it is just illumined by its being there. Tat advritti upadi bhedat bhinna vihi. That Chit Shakti, why it's called Shakti? Because it appears to be changing. Because of the various upadis. So seeing, thinking, hearing, talking, touching are all upadhis, because of which the consciousness also seems to undergo change. They have a chit shakti, is called shakti, which has to undergo change. Sarvam vishayajatam vishesha janati. Sarvam janati takes sense. So, Atma, the consciousness, knows everything in particular. Sarvada sarvaduk samanyanaja sarvam pashyati. Sarvaduk sees everything or illumines everything samanyataya and visheshataha. Consciousness illumines everything. Ghata, clay is samanya, and the various aspects of ghata are the vishesha. So, sam api sarvam pasyan astha, it is. In its very presence, all the particulars and all the universalities all get illuminated. And looks like illumination is carried by different powers of seeing, hearing, which all belongs to the upadhi. So just as one sun appears to be illuminating different colors, different forms, creation, sustenance, destruction, without itself undergoing any change. So also when consciousness, just by being what it is, just shining in its own glory, in its presence, illumines everything in general, in particular. Sarvadrushya adhisthanatvena sarva avyabhichari. In illumination, the light does not undergo any change. Sarvadrushya adhisthanatvena. But drishyas belong to vyavaharika satta. The consciousness has paramadika satta. So just as all adhyaropa, the sarpa and the mala, they undergo change, just as rajju doesn't undergo change, that is how the changelessness is. The changelessness of the self is like changelessness of rajju, which now appears as sarpa, as mala, as danda, as bhuchindra, etc. So the consciousness that appears as a seer, hearer, thinker, knower, toucher, taster, except seeing, hearing, are all superimposed, not that it becomes a seer. The seeing is superimposed upon the self consciousness, and that superimposition makes the self appear as a seer, appear as a hearer, appear as a thinker, without itself undergoing any intrinsic change. Sarva avyabhichari adhisthanatvena. The only thing adhisthana is avyabhichari. Adhyaropa keeps on changing, the costume keeps on changing. The one wearing costume remains the same. Tasmat shuddha nirvikarati yojana. So this verse completes the thought of the previous verse. Previous verse told us that Atma is changeless. Why not change belong to Atma? So with an illustration is shown how it is possible to explain all the variety of illumination without the change in illuminator, as in sun. So also it is possible to explain the variety of all illumined or non-knowledge, seeing, hearing, without the change in the illuminator. Iti yojana. This is what the Guru makes the Shishya see. The true nature of the Tvampada, or the nature of self. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeri मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।